Hi, I just wanted to do a little review of the sayings for the lines and the spaces. So this is for treble clef. That's the one that looks like this. That's the treble clef. So the saying for the lines, every good boy does fine, and for the spaces, we just remember that space rhymes with face. Now we always count up from the bottom, so make sure that you do that. Let me show you one more way of how that works. I'm just going to use the letters. Let's see if I can do this backwards. We've got E for every, and then we've got good boy does fine. Sort of. So every good boy does fine. That's for the lines. Now that also works up and down. Every good boy does fine. So let's try a couple examples. What if you had a note right here? What would that be? Let's draw a couple. So if I'm here, I know that every good boy does fine. So that's an F. I know that every good boy does. That's a D. And this one's just the very first word, every. I know that that starts with an E. Let's add another one. Every good boy. That's a B. Just like that. So if you can remember these sayings, that'll make that a lot easier. Let me maybe write this one before. But it's a little bit easier for me. So now the spaces, I know that space rhymes with face, and so I'm going to spell face, F-A-C-E, and those are going diagonally, but it works up and down as well, F-A-C-E. So if we go to our examples over here, I know that space rhymes with face, F-A, so that's an A. I know that F-A-C-E, that's an E. F-A-C, that's a C. And F, that's just the first letter. So again, if you can remember these sayings, every good boy does fine, and space rhymes with face, then you should be able to figure out these letters. Let me erase these. We'll do a couple more examples. Okay. Okay. So I mixed them up here. We have both line notes and space notes. I know that space rhymes with face, so that's an F, just the first letter. This is also a space note, so let's see, F-A-C, that's a C. Another space note, same saying, F-A-C-E. Now this one's a line note. I can tell that because the line's going right through the middle. And I know that every good boy does, so that's a D. I know that every good boy, that's a B. Every good, that's a G. Every, that's an E. Oh, we're back to a space note. I know that space rhymes with face, so F-A. So that's how we do those. Why don't you try these next ones with me? I'm just going to erase these and write them on the same line. Okay, so do these with me. We've got a combination of lines and spaces again. So here we go. I know that every good boy does fine. So here's every, that's E. Space note, space rhymes with face, F. A line note, every good boy, that's a B. Space note, space rhymes with face, F, A. Space rhymes with face, F, A, C, E. This one's a line note because I can see the line going through the middle. I know that every good boy does fine. So that's F. Every good boy does, that's a D. F, A, C, that's C because space rhymes with face. We're back to lines. Every good. So that's a G. So hopefully you were able to do those fairly easily. If not, maybe you can draw yourself an example and quiz yourself. Let's add something. So this thing, do you remember what that thing's called? It's a sharp. Not a hashtag. It sort of looks like one. But here in music, we call it a sharp. If we see one of those in our measure, remember a measure is a little box with the bar lines. Okay. So a measure is from one bar line to the next. So there's one measure, and then there's another measure. So we've got two measures here with notes. So I drew a sharp here. Space rhymes with face. So I know that this is F. It's F sharp. I know that every good, that's a G. We're back to spaces. F, A, and then F. So my question to you is, this is an F sharp. What about this? Is this still an F sharp? The answer is yes, because if they tell us once within one measure that it's sharp, it stays sharp for the whole measure, sort of like a family member with the same name. So that is going to be sharp. Once we have a bar line, if they want us to play sharp again, they're going to have to tell us. So they did, or I did. So there's your F sharp. So that means that this one, it's still in the same measure. Is that one sharp? This one sharp? Is this one? Yes, because, right, it's still in the same measure. So they told us again because we started a new measure, and then they didn't have to tell us again because it's still the same measure. And then we've got every good, that's a G, and we got space rhymes with face, F, so that's another F, and I can see that those are all on the same space, in the same measure. Is this one sharp? Yes, it is. So always remember that. If it is in the same measure, it is sharp. They only have to tell you once in each measure. I'm going to do another example. Okay. So here's your next example. I know that every good, that's a G. I can see that that's the same note, so that's also a G. And then we have an F sharp, and then we have an F. Is this one sharp? Same measure. They told us once, right before it. Is that one sharp? Yeah, it is. And then we have a bar line, and we start a new measure. And here we have another F. Is this F sharp? No. Why? Well, because we started a new measure with a bar line, and they didn't tell us to make it sharp. So even though these were sharp, we started a new measure, and so that one's not sharp. And then we've got every good, that's a G. Space rhymes with face F. Is this F sharp? No, because they still haven't told us to make it sharp in this measure. Then we have an F sharp. Is this one sharp? Yes, it is. So F sharp, still F sharp, not F sharp because we started a new measure. They still haven't told us it's F sharp, so not sharp. And now it's sharp. Does that make sense? Let's add something else. What about this thing? What is this thing called? This is a sharp. What is this one? This one's a flat. So hopefully you remember hearing that at some point. That's a flat, that's a sharp. Flat, sharp. So if I had a measure with a bunch of flats, let's see. Oops. Okay. So here's our measure with flats. We've got every good, that's a G, still on the lines. Every good boy, that's a B. I see that we've got a flat, so that's a B flat. Every good boy, that's also a B. It's still in the same measure. Is it going to be flat? Yes. Every good boy, there's another one, and I can just see that they're all on the same line next to each other. What do you think? Is this one still flat? Yeah, because they told us once. They haven't told us anything to cancel that out, and we're still in the same measure. Let's keep going. Every good, that's a G. Every good boy, that's a B. Is that one flat? We're in a new measure. They haven't told us anything yet. Is it flat? No. But then, every good boy, we've got a B flat. And they told us, so it's flat. And then what about this one? I threw this one in here because this throws people a lot of the time. This is also B. This is B on our G string, so that's second finger. Is it flat? Because they did just tell us that B is flat. This B is flat. And then they haven't told us anything different, and this is still a B. It's in a different octave. It's on a different string. Is it flat? What do you think? Well, I hope you said yes, because this is flat. This is right next to it. So it's sort of like these, where we had B flat and then a B right next to it. It does not matter what octave it's in, it's still flat, because they haven't told us anything different and we haven't started a new measure. So this one's flat, this one is flat. So make sure you remember that. That's a tricky question if that ever comes up. Let's do one more of these, and then we'll add something else. Okay, so here's our new example. We've got every good boy, so that's B flat. Here's that B over on the G string we were just talking about, second finger. Is that flat? Here we are, B flat, same measure, no other information, just an octave lower. Is it flat? Yes. Then we go back to this, every good boy. I know that it's B. This was flat, and this was flat. Is this flat? Yep. And then here's another one. Maybe we don't see much yet. What is it? It's B. It's B on our E string. Fourth finger. B flat, B flat, B flat. Higher octave. Is it flat? Yes, it is. So B flat, B flat, B flat, B flat. They only had to tell us once because it's all in the same measure. Let's keep going. Every good boy. Oh, there's another B. Is this one flat? We started a new measure. I don't see any information in front of it. So no, it's just regular B. It's a space note. Space rhymes with face. F, A. Back to a line note. Every good, G. Another line note. Every good boy. So here's a B. Is it flat? We're still in the same measure. We didn't have any initial information. Is it flat? No. No flats in this measure. All naturals, as we would call it. Which brings me to the next thing that we are going to talk about. So we've had sharps that sort of look like a hashtag or a tic-tac-toe board. We had flats, which sort of looks like a lowercase b, but it's tilted a little bit. And now, let's talk about naturals. So here's what a natural looks like. It's like that. When I draw it, I draw an L and an upside down L. Some people like to say a 7. Sorry, that's hard to do without actually having it down to write. So, natural. A natural just cancels out anything that was before. It can cancel out a sharp. It can cancel out a flat. This is how it works. It's like this. So natural is a regular note. A sharp makes it go a half step higher. A flat makes it go a half step lower. So if I have a sharp and I cancel it out, it's going to natural. It has to hit that step. And then if I wanted to lower it again, I can make it a flat. But it would have to pass that natural. It can't go from there to there. It climbs down by half steps. Sharp, natural, flat. So let me draw a couple examples. Okay, here we go. So, oops, I didn't color that one in. Oh, that's the flat. Okay, here we go. First line, every, so I know that that's an E. I know it's an E flat because I've got the flat in front of it. Here's a natural sign, so it was E flat. Now it's back to E, E natural. This is still natural. I don't have to put anything since that was just to cancel out the flat. And then another E. So 1 E flat and 3 E naturals. We've got E. It's still natural because there's no information in front of it. They only have to tell us that it's natural like this if we're canceling something else out. Otherwise, we just know that natural is just regular. So here's our natural E, E natural. Every good boy, I know that that's a B. I know that it's flat. Here's our low B again. It's still flat. And then they're changing it to natural, so they're canceling out the flat. Let's do one more example. All right, so here's our example. First line, every. So I know that that's an E. It's an E flat. Then we cancel out the flat, and it goes to E natural. Then we are going to F natural. We don't have to have the natural sign because we're not canceling anything out yet. Then we're moving it up to a sharp. We've got F sharp. And since we added the sharp, now we have to cancel it out if we want F natural again. And then because they gave us that information, they don't have to give us any more information. And we just know that that's F natural as well. E flat, E natural, F natural, F sharp, back to F natural, still F natural. And we go over here, it's a line note, so I know that every, so that's E. Then we're lowering it, E flat. And then I know that every good, that's a G, no other information. And then a space note, space rhymes with face, F, A, so I know that that's my A. I hope that makes sense to everybody, and I'll see you next time.